The RSI Galaxy is an upcoming sub-capital ship in Star Citizen, supposedly designed from the ground up with versatility and modularity in mind. Where other ships tend to have a clear, defined purpose, the Galaxy is supposed to be able to flex into different roles depending on the loadout of the ship at the time. Coupled with some stylish RSI artwork, that's understandably got many players excited. I'm Farrister, and welcome to the Drydock, a new series which will delve deeper into the ships of Star Citizen. This video will explore the background behind the Galaxy both in and out of game, then take a look at some of the attributes and statistics of the ship before considering how that might all translate into gameplay. There are timestamps in the video description, although if you're a fan of the Galaxy you might prefer to watch this one all the way through. And whilst this channel usually focuses on what's currently in-game, necessarily this video will navigate the treacherous space that is speculation territory. Whilst every effort has been made to approach this video accurately, sometimes information is sparse and much is subject to change as time goes along, so please treat the video with a pinch of salt and not as a definitive promise as to what will happen. All of that said, let's dive into the background of the Galaxy. The Galaxy was relatively recently announced in November 2022 in time for the annual Star Citizen Black Friday sale. The release included an Inside Star Citizen special video as well as a website launch with accompanying Q&A. As a relatively recently announced ship, there isn't a great deal of in-game information available about the Galaxy yet. During the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo in 2952, there was a brief comment about the prototype model being missing for the expo, but otherwise this very much seems to be a ship under development both in and out of game. On announcement in 2022, the Galaxy was offered for sale for $380 or $350 of new money. However, that was without any of the critical modules for the ship. Those modules were sold separately for between $70 and $90, making the true cost for the Galaxy upwards of $420. The stated purpose for the Galaxy is as a multi-role ship, able to fulfill a variety of roles in the large ship size point through swapping out a central module rather than purchasing a whole new ship. The announced modules make those initial purposes cargo hauling, medical, and ore refining. The design documents talk about how more modules could be developed in the future, however only time will tell if that's a possibility or not. Out with those modular elements, the Galaxy does have all the hallmarks of being a fairly versatile platform with the ability to land and quality of life features like the hangar at the back. Based on current information, the Galaxy would have a total length of 110 meters, a total width or beam of around 60 meters, and a total height or depth of 22 meters. For context, that's very close in terms of size to a Carrack currently in game. The total mass of the Galaxy is still to be determined. By way of components, the Galaxy is expected to house a large radar as well as two medium-sized computers. Power is expected to be provided by two large power plants with cooling provided by two large coolers. And defensively, the Galaxy would carry a single large shield generator. The Galaxy specifications list a large fuel intake, two large hydrogen fuel tanks, and a large quantum fuel tank. Both the quantum drive and jump drive are set to be large size. In terms of propulsion, the downloadable specifications PDF lists 4 main thrusters, 2 retro thrusters, and 12 fixed maneuvering thrusters located around the ship, providing rotation and translation support. By way of armament, there are 3 remote turrets aboard, each armed with twin size 5 weapons. Those turrets are located one on either side of midships and one beneath the nose. The triangular shape of the Galaxy would suggest that all 3 turrets would likely be able to fire on targets directly in front of the ship. Further, the Galaxy carries 2 missile hardpoints, armed with 4 size 2 missiles. An armament of this size is optimised for engaging fighter-sized craft. The Q&A notes that the pilot only controls the missile armament and does not have access to the remote turrets. The crew specifications for the Galaxy note a minimum crew of 1 to a maximum crew of 6. In reality, the Galaxy is likely to be very vulnerable in the hands of a single pilot, owing to the reliance on the remote turrets for any reasonable firepower. Assuming that 2 of the remote turrets were manned, the 2 on each side of the Galaxy for optimal coverage, plus potentially another player to support with the front turret or engineering type gameplay, or potentially in a snub fighter in the rear, it might be reasonable to assume an effective crew of 3 to 4 players for the Galaxy. The concept art for the bridge seems to show 4 crew positions. The Galaxy is not as large as some of the capital ships, and so the amenities are more befitting a ship at this size point. The captain has an office and bedroom attached, and there are 5 other rooms for crew members, which look to provide individual berthing. There are other amenities like a docking collar, communal eating and recreation space, and a large hangar at the rear of the ship. The hangar is described as a loading hangar, implying that cargo can be loaded and offloaded in that space, and it is double height, taking up space on both decks of the Galaxy. The hangar contains the 64 SCU of storage native to the Galaxy, with 32 SCU on either side of the central ship area. The hangar is sized to support ships in similar size to the Pisces, MPUV, Razor, 85X and M50. Further, there's the modules that take up the large space in the centre of the ship. With the cargo module equipped, an additional 512 SCU becomes available for use, as well as a vehicle lift supporting ground vehicles or 2 32 SCU containers. With the refinery module, the Galaxy is able to support 2 refining work queues and directly load up saddlebags from a prospector or mole. With the medical module, the Galaxy is able to support 1 Tier 1, 2 Tier 2 and 3 Tier 3 beds for healing a variety of seriousness of ailment. This variant also has a lift going to ground level directly to the module. For each of these modules, the hangar bay also leads directly into the mouth of the module itself, giving easy access to ships that fit inside. The Galaxy is described in the Inside Star Citizen launch video as the big brother to the Constellation, and that seems apt. Where the Constellation is a bit of a jack of all trades that allows a range of gameplay options for a solo player as well as a small crew, the Galaxy seems to put that in bold and underline it while casually deleting the solo player part. Moreover, the Galaxy is about making it economical to change the purpose of the ship without having to buy a whole new ship. That means you can keep your creature comforts aboard, keep your crew's familiarity with where everything is, and still substantially change the purpose of the vessel. But that's not likely going to be very practical to do. Swapping modules is likely to be a major undertaking, not least so because the modules themselves will need to be physically stored somewhere, so it's likely a case of going back to home base and then heading back out again with the new module equipped. For pure cargo hauling, that means there may well be better choices, like the cheaper Hercules, which could be operated solo or with a group, but doesn't have the same constraints. That said, for medical and refinery gameplay, there isn't really a comparable offering at the moment. Medical-wise, the Galaxy may offer something that otherwise is only really available in the remit of the Hope-class floating hospitals, and that is a variety of bed sizes in a single module with ready access for a rescue Pisces in the back. Equally, for mining gameplay, the onboard refinery coupled with relatively strong turrets could make the Galaxy a fascinating companion ship for a small mining group looking for somewhere to offload their ore and cut down on processing time. The natural fleet role for the Galaxy also flows in the same regard towards refinery/escort services to smaller mining ships, and arguably far more useful as a floating hospital. There really aren't many ships at the moment that could compete with this purpose, as the Galaxy could be staying away from the heat of battle with the sole purpose of bringing injured parties aboard via the hangar at the back and getting them back into health. The single large shield generator could make the Galaxy a little more vulnerable than dedicated combat ships, and the limited size of the hangar at the back limits the choices of combat-capable snub fighters to a small handful, even considering the tiny footprint of the Fury. Combined with a relatively small armament compared to other combat ships at the same size, the Galaxy is more likely to take a backseat in such high-scale combat operations. Regardless, the concept for the Galaxy is one of a very futuristic, beautiful looking ship when it finally hits the verse, and the return of modularity could be a potentially interesting way of eking more life out of a smaller number of ships. But at the risk of going on for too long, we'll draw a line under the Galaxy here, and so it's over to you to share your thoughts in the video comments. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, you might like to do that too, so you can get the heads up for new videos on the channel, as well as dropping a massive modular bay on the like button if you like heavily narrated slideshows talking about fictional spaceships. Otherwise, and as always, thank you for watching.